everyone, and welcome back to Home Wisdom with HBH. I'm your host, Erica Barnaby, and today we have a special guest. His name is Hector the Inspector, and we are going to talk about home inspections, why they're important, things that are common here in El Paso, and just kind of really just talk a little bit, not get too serious with anything, but have a good conversation about, as a homeowner, what you should expect, as a buyer, what you should expect, and as a seller, what you should expect. So yeah, we're going to dive right on in. But before we do that, remember, I need some engagement. Go ahead, subscribe, comment, review, share with your friends, share with your enemies, share with whoever the heck you want to share with. That is the ultimate goal. I want you to share, follow, engage, comment, do all that wonderful stuff, because it's very important. We're growing our platform, and we're making sure that everyone has some knowledge, because remember the slogan, more knowledge today means more power tomorrow. All right, let's get right on into it. Hey, Hector, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Awesome. Me and Hector, we filmed this podcast a few weeks ago, right?
That's correct.
The audio, there was this truck that was parked out in front of the office that we were filming in. I guess they went to go get a burrito or something, right?
Yes.
And it was just like beep, beep, the whole time. And so I got home, I tried to edit it as best I could, and I said, Hector, it ain't working, dude. We gotta reshoot this podcast. So I want to thank Hector for coming back, and we're reshooting this thing now.
I'm glad to be here.
So tell me about yourself, Hector.
Well, I've been in the business for 10 years, actually going on 10 years, and I started off as a retail clerk for a grocery business.
Yeah.
Became a manager here in El Paso, and then we went to Dallas. So I was a manager there in Dallas, and here I am. I'm an inspector now. Hector the Inspector.
Hector the Inspector. I coined that phrase, and I told him he needs to trademark it. It's very important that he trademark Hector the Inspector. I'm sure somebody already has it, but you should at least try. So tell me a little bit about how long you've been in the business, what made you join the business, and all that wonderful stuff.
I'm retired, basically.
Yeah.
And it was time to do something else. I really enjoy being my own boss. Mm-hmm. So this is the direction I went.
Yeah. And Hector is an amazing inspector. He's like me in the inspector world. He's very loyal to a fault. He's a good guy. He does all he can to keep everything. All the inspections I get from him are very clear. They're concise. They don't ever waver, in my opinion. They don't ever go from one type of inspection to another. It's just pretty
consistent.
It's very consistent.
Yes.
It's very simple. Yellow is be on the lookout, and red is get it fixed.
Yes. Yeah. Red would be basically safety.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever you're inspecting a home, what is let's get into it. What is an inspection?
It's basically it's a visual inspection of the home.
Yeah.
At the time of inspection.
Yeah, and a lot of people think inspections are something that they're not.
That's correct.
Inspections are not they're not going to be able to tell you what's inside your pipes. They're not going to be able to tell you, is there significant water damage that I'm not seeing? It's really at eye level, correct?
Yes, everything's visual. Even though everything's visual, you pretty well can catch everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's pretty evident, right?
Yes, it's pretty evident.
We start looking for like yellow stains. Mm-hmm. That's evidence of a water. At some point in time, it may not still be, but at some point in time, it was water damage.
Previous repairs.
Yeah. And, inspecting your roof is very simple because you walk on it, you'll be able to tell.
And here in El Paso, we've had about 9 hailstorms.
Yeah.
So even though that you already replaced your roof, you might still have damage.
Yeah. And I know a few of our inspections together here recently have had roof damage. And the roof looks great. Whenever the eyesight it looks great to the eyes. It's like, oh, the roof is there. We're not seeing any bubbling. We're not seeing any flag. I don't know if you use that term, but I use that term where it's like waving. Mm-hmm. It looks like a flag. It's waving. That's a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not a great thing. So my eye test is just that, an eye test. So whenever I get the inspection and I'm like, I didn't see that, it's because I don't get on there because I'm not going to fall and hurt myself.
Well, I did fall.
Yeah, I
from
know.
a 2-story building.
Yes. And speaking of crazy incidents, Hector the Inspector here has been electrocuted
Twice. Twice.
twice. He's been electrocuted twice. Tell me what happened.
Well, it was a new build.
Yeah.
You never expect that to happen.
Yeah.
But I got taught by a master inspector.
Yeah.
So when I was touching the electrical panel, I was opening it up with my drill and so forth. And the last bolt I was opening, and it exploded on me.
Yeah. Oh my
And
gosh.
I got electrocuted. Well, actually, I wasn't like this because you're supposed to hold the panel
Yeah.
like this.
Uh-huh.
And that's what saved me. I didn't get stuck. I was able to pull back.
I joke with Hector the other day when we did this, and he told me that story for the first time. Telling him that I would have done this instead of this.
So this, yes.
Because it's just natural to be like, oh, I'm going to go touch this. But just a little PSA for all you fools out there who are just like me and don't know any better. When you're talking about electricity, you never want to go at electricity like this.
You never want to touch the breaker box to hold it or anything like that, because if there's something wrong with it, you're going to get stuck.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to pull away. But if you put your hand out like this, your muscle contracts.
Yeah.
So you'll contract with it, and you'll be able to pull away.
And you may knock yourself out, but it's better to be knocked out than to be dead.
Saved my life twice.
Yeah.
That's what it really did.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so there you go. There's our biggest tip of the day is when you're messing with electrical, you bitch slap the electrical, not Iron Man.
And another thing, if you don't know anything about electricity, I would call an electrician.
Yeah, just don't touch
right
it.
away. Just don't touch it.
Just
Yes.
don't. It's better to be safe than sorry
Yes.
because electricity will get your ass every
Yes,
time.
Every time.
What do you check whenever you're doing a home inspection?
Usually, a customer always asks me is like they really want the roof checked, the foundation, and electricity, that it makes everything is good. I go above and beyond that. First thing we do is we make sure that your drainage is good. So let the water run for quite some time and fill up everything to the top and make sure that your drainage is good. Even though you can't see through the pipes, at least at the time of inspection, you know that your drainage is good.
Yeah.
That all your plumbing is good.
Yeah.
Of course, I already told you about the hail, that we had about 9 hailstorms this past 9 years. So it's really important to get that right too.
Yeah.
And of course, your structure, which would be your foundation.
Yeah.
And everything in between. Everything is very detailed.
Yeah, and I tell people all the time, just because the house is remodeled, that don't mean jack and shit.
Oh no.
No, matter of fact, that's could potentially be worse for you, because a lot of times these people buy these homes, they flip them, and they do like the worst electrical job you can think of.
It could be anything from the walls.
Yeah.
Everything could be hidden. Instead of looking at it at face value to where they didn't do anything, the work couldn't, it might not have been done correctly.
Yeah, and I can vouch for that. I mean, I've sold every type of house there is here in El Paso. The beat down, holy crap house, all the way to, oh my gosh, this is amazing, this is beautiful. And let me tell you, some of the worst inspections I've ever seen come from the, oh my God, this is amazing, this is beautiful homes.
You would be surprised.
Not me, but you may be surprised.
Yeah.
So, what are the most common issues El Paso faces?
Storm damage.
Yeah.
In your roof.
Yeah.
It's always.
And
you
we
look
just
at the roof,
we always come back to this, but it's so important
Yes.
for people to understand this.
they just change the roof.
Yeah.
And the homeowner thinks their house is perfect.
Yeah.
Then you walk up there and it's, oh my God.
There's one thing we can't control, and that's Mother Nature. So you could replace your roof yesterday, and we get a hailstorm today. Chances are, if that hail touched your roof, you probably need to go call your insurance back out there and have them readjust it.
Yes.
Anytime you see a piece of hail fall in your neighborhood, call your insurance, or call Hector. Call Hector the Inspector and say, can you come look at my roof? And then he'll make the assessment. Do we need to get an
adjuster?
An adjuster out here to take a look at it. So the big question, how much does an inspection cost?
It all depends on the square footage of the house.
Yeah.
luckily, I'm very reasonable compared to anybody else. That doesn't mean that you're going to get low grade inspection. The inspections, to me, I don't set a time limit. It's the house determines
Yeah.
the inspection, the time, so forth. And I welcome anybody to come in and do the inspection with me so they can visually see everything. That way, if you have a question, I will be able to answer it 100%. So with by the time that you leave, you have no questions.
Yeah.
And
And I can vouch for that. Like I've seen him take 2 hours, and then I've seen a house take 6 hours once.
Yes.
Because the buyers were there and they wanted to walk in, they want to look at it, they want to, and I tell all my buyers this: if you have trust issues, please by all means go sit down with him. He loves it. He absolutely loves for you to follow him. But if you don't have trust issues and you believe that he's going to do a good job and you're going to see the report and all that stuff, let him just do his job, because he's going to get it done a lot faster and quicker. However, it's your decision what you want to do. It's just, in my opinion, I get bored. I do so many daggum inspections.
Right.
Like, I remember when I first started, I thought that was so cool. I'm going to all my inspections, blah, blah, blah. These days, I don't have 3 hours to give.
Yes. I kind of personalize it in the sense that I teach you safety, first of all.
Yeah.
The electricity. Even though, you never expect anything, but I'll teach you how to climb a ladder.
Yeah. And that's very important, because me and you both have fallen off ladders before.
I fell off a 2-story building.
Yeah, I know. That's what you told us that already. Tell me that story. What happened?
I was getting on top of a absolutely 2-story building, and it had like a second level. When I put my ladder to climb to the second level, the roof caved in on me.
Oh no!
So I fell backwards and it hit my head. The lady came running and she said, "Hector, are you okay?" And I said, "Yes." And she says, "Did you fall?" And I said, "No."
That concussion got him.
I said, "I bounced." Well, later on, hindsight is because I had a concussion.
Yeah, of course.
And I didn't remember that I had fallen. I still don't remember
You
falling.
indeed did bounce, but it was your head that bounced.
Yes. I'm still here.
You're still here. Electrocuted, falling off roofs. The stories, almost every inspector has some crazy story they can tell you that's happened to them. And they're all here because they know safety. Into when you're dealing with home maintenance, you need to be aware of safety.
That's correct.
Because
first off,
maybe you are really good with electricity, but it doesn't matter. Be careful. If you're going to be messing with some GFCIs, or you're going to be out, changing out your outlets, don't be dumb. Turn your main breaker off and don't have any electricity going through your house. If you're dealing with some water issues and you can't find out where that leak's coming from, turn the water off at the main street. Don't let things get worse before they get better. Wouldn't you say?
I would say so. A little, I'd say, leak can turn into something really, really big.
Yeah, and don't. It's not like if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. No, it does exist. So if you notice something, right? Let's say your water bill. This is a good little point. If your water bill is normally $60 a month, and then 1 month you wake up and nothing changed, your regular routine did not change. No one moved. Your girlfriend didn't move in with you and showering 3 times a day. You didn't have any babies that you gotta wash their stinky butts or anything like that. And your water bill changes, that's a good indicator something is not right. Well, a once a month, like a one-off, is okay. But if you see that happening 2 to 3 months in a row, that's a good indicator. Let's call Hector the inspector and let him come look and find out what the problem is.
You might have an underground water leak.
A sprinkler
leak. Your bathroom might be leaking. Something's wrong, definitely.
Something, and again, an issue that is very cheap to fix when you find it versus find it, don't report it, don't get it fixed, and now you have mold. Now you have rotten woodwork and all that wonderful stuff that makes selling your home atrocious. Speaking of selling your home, why would a seller want to hire an inspector before they put the house on the market?
Because you find everything that needs to be fixed before you sell it.
Yeah.
So when you sell it, you're ready to sell, and you have no problems. It'll go really smooth.
A PSA for all you realtors out there and homeowners that are thinking of selling. Be prepared. If you do a home inspection, your seller's disclosure must reflect that home inspection, okay? So don't just get the home inspection just for your warm and fuzzies. Be prepared that now that you know what the deficiencies are, you must report them. I'm going to always tell whoever sits down across the table from me, I'm going to walk your house and tell you what I see, and if I see it, he's going to see it. And if he sees it, it's going to be on a report, so why not just go ahead and fix it and not have to worry about this?
Or maybe disclose it.
Yeah, disclose it.
Yeah.
And some people will surprise you what they are willing to accept versus not accept. If you tell them up front, they're willing to accept, oh, I understand this house was built in the 80s. The code has changed. I don't need it to reflect the new code. If you disclose it, chances are you're going to get somebody to buy it. Because as long as you're not hiding it from me and you're being upfront and honest, we're golden.
That is 100%.
And what would you tell a buyer that says, no, thank you, Hector, I don't want my house inspected. I'm just going to buy this property?
That's a big no-no.
That's a big, you dumb.
A big no-no.
You a big dummy. That's what I would say.
Something simple could turn into something major, and then you're going to spend thousands of dollars, not hundreds, thousands. Yes.
And a lot of people do it with new builds. A lot of people are like, oh, my new build, I don't have to get it inspected. You're right. You do not have to get it inspected. And there are some builders where I will say, I will give them grace and say they're very good about getting their own inspector and doing their own things and making sure everything's good. But most builders in El Paso, that's not the case. And to protect yourself, let's just go ahead and hire an inspector.
I would say hire an inspector, new build, old build, 1900s.
Yeah. Yeah, and should a buyer be scared if they get an inspection report with 40 pages?
No, actually, I think they should be very happy to get an inspection report like that. That's very detailed. It's scary to see it, but at the same time, you have the inspector to explain everything.
Yeah.
And some things could be minor, and
most of it is.
Most of it, yeah.
90% of your inspection report is going to be caulking is missing, grout is missing, baseboard shows damage, water damage in the roof, but it has no moisture. So anything cosmetic is definitely going to get reported on that inspection report.
Right. And at the end of the day, you might have a honey-do list.
Put it on it.
Yes.
Put it on the honey-do list. My job is to find on those 40 pages, 50 pages, 60 pages. I've even seen one for 170 pages once. We ended up not buying that house. We won't go into that. But my job as your realtor is to comb through that inspection report and find the safety and the big ticket items, such as your roof, your HVAC system, your electrical, your plumbing. Those are the four big items for me. Structure is a little bit more difficult to decipher because when we get an inspection, it's not a foundation inspection, it's a visual inspection.
If an inspector finds I would say deficiencies that they look like your structure is compromised,
shifting,
you need to get a structural engineer.
Honestly, at that point, I would tell you to walk away. It's not. Please, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but in my opinion, it's not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk because I know that they're going to tell me on the other side, I'm not paying to have this thing inspected, the foundation inspected, and then do you really want to pay $2,500 for the inspection?
Just a visual inspection without a report will probably cost you about $600.
Yeah. Honestly, just not worth it.
Yeah.
If you tell me that you think there's structure problems, I'm probably just going to take your word and we're going to move on from that house.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you some hard-hitting questions now, okay?
I'm ready.
I think I've given you a few layups, a few easy questions. Okay. Now I'm going to give you some hard ones. If you were buying a house, what on an inspection report that you look at would make you walk away?
I would say the first thing is your plumbing. If everything's backing up and so forth, you need a professional out there to look at your pipes.
Rotor rooter.
Yes, Roto-Rooter. Yes, get a scope and go in there.
Yeah.
Because if there could be something serious.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be something minor, but at visual inspection you can't tell.
Exactly.
The other thing would be your foundation, of
Mm-hmm.
course.
Like we just said.
Yes, foundation. The other thing would be a roof if it doesn't get fixed.
Yep.
Most of the time you have, you get your adjuster, you go out there, and if it is damaged to the point where you could put a claim on it, you'll get it fixed, so it's
Yeah.
worth it. But if it doesn't, I would say that's something that you really got to consider.
Yeah. Yeah, because if on the inspection report Hector says, "Hey, get a roof adjuster out here," and we do, and they say, "No, it's not bad enough, blah blah blah." I promise you, the next rainstorm/hailstorm we get, when you are the homeowner, they're gonna get it. They're gonna say, "Yep, it's time now." And now that $2,500 to $10,000 deductible, depending on who you have for insurance, is now gonna be your bill to pay.
Yes.
So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind whenever you are buying a house and that inspection report comes back with a recommendation on a roof, and no one's willing to do it, or they can't. I mean, look, sellers can't afford $20,000 roof if the insurance company won't pay for it. So I understand saying I can't do that, but as a buyer, it's not my problem.
Sometimes you'll get a handyman to do a lot of work, modifications, and electrical is really bad. So that could cause a fire.
Yeah.
And if you're buying a home that's not to standard, back in the day where it's grandfathered, it has a lot of issues. So electrical would be one that could be a huge safety
huge
factor.
Huge problem for you. If you get an inspection and there's spliced wires that are exposed, what the fuck? That's so easy. Put a cap on it, put a cover over it, and we call that a day. Why is that exposed? That's a good indicator that whoever did the electrical probably just did a half-ass job.
Correct.
And so yeah, for me, now if you ask me that question, my only thing is electrical. I think everything else I would be okay with because, well, no, not plumbing. Electrical and plumbing is probably the two things that I would say those are deal killers for me.
You got to make sure that your HVAC and your water heater, you're not getting carbon monoxide into your home. You got your smoke detectors.
No gas leak.
No gas leaks,
Yeah.
so forth. The safety.
Yeah.
You really want to, I would say, concentrate on all your safety issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Water heaters are a really big trigger for flooding and fires because that water heater runs on gas, correct?
Yes.
So if there's a pinhole leak, what do you think if it's going to happen when that gas that's now combustible touches the flame when it pops on?
Yeah.
Kaboom! Hello.
It has to be done properly.
Yeah, exactly. So a water heater, while it only cost about $1,000 for a brand new one, $1,500 to install, so $1,500 all said, that is one of the biggest triggers that I find in El Paso is water heaters are just atrocious. A lot of people don't. They're the Leaning Tower of Pizza. They're leaning like this. They don't have drip pans. They got corrosion in them. You can tell they've never been flushed. Maybe they're 15 years old. By the way, water heaters are only good for anywhere from 10 to 15 years. And here in El Paso, we have really hard water. So it's more like 10 years, in my opinion.
8 to 12.
Yeah, yeah. So, by the way, that it's only $1,000 to fix it, but your house is gone if you don't take care of it.
Yeah.
Flooding is a deal killer. Anytime you look at a house and prior flooding, that could be a deal killer. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, some insurance will take care of it. Like I can say USAA is very, very good about if your water heater floods or anything like that, they'll come in and just redo everything for you with your deductible. But not all insurances are like that. Here in El Paso, we have historic homes, correct?
Yes.
So tell me, whenever we're buying one of those homes, what should we be on the lookout for?
Most of the historic homes have basements, or they have crawl spaces. and you got to make sure that your crawl space, all your beams are intact, that there's no evidence of rotting wood, that your beams are not leaning. A house could be, it could look really nice outside, and they fix it up, but you go into the crawl space and you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
It's
Not me. I won't be surprised. I've seen it.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Your electricity again,
2 inches of water.
Yes.
That's a big one.
Yes.
When there's just standing pool of water.
Yeah. And when you do an inspection and you get all the deficiencies, you got to follow the historic standard.
Yeah.
You just can't go out there and hire anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have somebody licensed. They're gorgeous, solid built homes, but again, they're built in the 1800s, 1900s, and so forth. And they're just not up to standard.
Yeah.
Once you get the inspection report, you got to get the proper person out to fix
Look at it. Yeah. And yeah, that may be one that you see that has like 172 pages. Just understand that maybe 2 of those pages will be able to get fixed.
Yes.
The rest, it's just, you're just buying a piece of history. That's the way to look at it. I'm buying a piece of history, and I got to love it the way it is. Well, that is everything. I want to thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time today and talking about inspections and going a little bit deeper. But I want to thank you for taking your time out. What do you think of the office? You like the space?
I love the space.
It's pretty cool, huh?
Yes, yeah.
We're growing up. We're making big moves here. But yeah, so thanks for coming. Anything you want to say to the people? You can look in that camera and tell them who you are and why they should hire you.
Well, first of all, I'm Hector the Inspector. That's a good ring. I like that.
I love it.
I would say you got to make the right call. If you want something done right, inspect it right. You want one of the best realtors, get Homes by Harshaw.
Thank you.
And also, if you want one of the best inspectors, call Hector the Inspector.
Hector the Inspector.
I like that.
I know, I love it. I'm gonna. We should get you a caricature, like the little cartoons where you're doing like this, and on a shirt, and it says Hector the Inspector.
It's funny, but I always do this.
I know.
Since I was
young. I know. That's why I was like, this is a perfect
Uh-huh.
catchphrase for you. Hector the Inspector. It's great. I love it. It. But I want to thank you for coming on. We're going to put all of his information on here. We'll have his license number, all that wonderful stuff. While he was just talking, all of that will be on the screen.
Perfect.
And below right here will be all of his, he doesn't have social media, but it'll have his email, his phone number, and how you can get in contact with him. And of course, if you just want to talk to him and you're just like, how do I get a hold of Hector? Just call me. I'll get you in contact with him. Hector's on my speed dial. Well, there you go. There's another exciting episode in the books here at Home Wisdom with HBH. I can't thank you guys enough for all the support and the continued growth that this channel is receiving. We're going to make it to 100 subscribers by the end of summer. I can feel it. We're right here. Come on, guys. Just smash the subscribe button. All right, so some exciting news. Hopefully you stay to the full end so you get this exciting news. First, to hear about it. Hot off the press. Well, probably not, because this is going to be all over Facebook before this podcast comes up. But on the 27th of this month from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., we're going to have a question and answers with me, a loan officer here locally, and we're going to talk about everything there possibly can be to talk about with buying a home here in El Paso. It's a free event. You're going to be able to go look to it on Facebook. We're going to create a Facebook event for it. It's free. Come out. We're going to have some food. We're going to have some drinks. Just sodas, not alcohol. So I'm sorry about that. But mostly it's just going to be so we can educate you and help you make the right decision on if you want to buy or if we want to wait and all that wonderful stuff. So there's no questions off limits. It's a free reign, and we're going to answer to the best of our ability on everything. So please come out. If you bought a house with me, share this with everybody that you know that may think about buying. If you have sold a house with me, share this with everybody that you think about selling. I don't care. I just want as many people to show up that night, because this is the first of many. So yeah, on the 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. at our office, we're going to have it. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to leave a review. And as always, more knowledge today means more power tomorrow. See ya.